You may have all heard this story before, you may have all seen a video on this topic, at least back in late February. You may have already decided your side in the situation. Well, today, it's going to be something different. Today, we're not going to be doing the same old with the Rslash situation where we go, oh, here's the evidence to support one side, let's ignore the other side, or let's ignore looking further into it, let's ignore some of the other issues, and just potentially, we're going to look into everything, as much as I've been able to gather over the past couple of months of looking into this topic. And I'll tell you now, this will be an interesting outcome to most people. So I suggest that no matter what side you're on, I recommend that you come into this video with a clear mind. You may learn something new, whether it be you'll learn something new about YouTube, or whether it be you'll learn something new about growth on YouTube, or this situation as a whole. So without further ado, let's look into the case. Did Rslash really Subbot? Now, I want to make a point here. I can understand where both sides of the situation is coming from. I can understand the people who are accusing him of subbotting because this is such an abnormal thing to happen. A channel going from 0 to nearly 500,000 subscribers in just over a month. I will continue to torture that into your head throughout this video, I know. But I want to make it clear that 0 to 500,000 in just over a month is something that doesn't happen much. Yes, there are YouTubers who will go viral so damn quickly, but they're never from 0. In the past few years anyway. Let's take a look at this closely. We got Fainted, who was at around the 500 subscriber mark before he went viral to get a few 100,000 subscribers because one video got millions of views. Quiet, he had just over 1,000 subscribers before he went viral. Even the original OG commentator himself, Leafy, was at around 20,000 subscribers before he went viral the way he did. Practically, a channel goes viral after a small amount of time of growing anyway. A lot of the time,
probably the point I don't make quite as clear enough is that most channels end up going viral after they've already built up a form of a fan base. It's how normally it goes. Typically, most channels have gone viral in the past few years. They've already got a built-up audience.
But if you're just starting out, it's very, very rare for a channel to go viral immediately, and that's what's happened with Rslash. So as a YouTuber who doesn't see this often, or as a viewer of YouTube who doesn't see this often and see how massively he grew, it does look suspicious, and pretty much one of the main conclusions most people come to is some form of botting. Now, is that a fair conclusion to come to at this point in time? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I can also understand the point of the people who believe that he isn't a subbot, that he never did subbot. I can understand what that is. I can understand that you see thousands upon thousands of real people saying that they found him in recommendations, and I can understand that you did. But again, this is based upon your assumption, this is based upon what you see. You don't have much more evidence aside from there's thousands of people saying the same thing upon your side. So let's look at the first very critical video on Rslash, the one that pretty much instigated the main points. And let's look at all 4 points. The first point that I'd like to look into. First point I'd like to look into is the Social Blades.
It's that are entirely missing from Social Blade's reports on him. In fact, Social Blade registers his channel's existence on January 31st, but then can't seem to report stats again until February 12th, something I have never seen missing from Social Blade's stats. At the time, he had 19 videos on his channel, but for whatever reason, his channel wasn't trackable, which is a very odd glitch at minimum and super suspicious. I wanted to know if you could explain the discrepancy on the dates between 1/31/19 and 2/12/19 and why those dates are completely missing from your data. Looks like their channel was new into the database around that time, so that's all we could get them. Also, when you see the missing days or dashes, then we couldn't gather the data from the API in time for the update.
That was the response. Now, Illuminati, not knowing exactly what that means, but having some kind of idea what it potentially could mean, kinda came to the conclusion that nothing happened at that time. And I mean, sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it is the case when the API where Social Blade can't get data from the API because there is no new data to begin with, but let me disprove that right now. You see, I have a random channel that I experiment on very rarely, and back in March, I took many screenshots of when there are gaps, where there are data marks that have nothing on that day. No new subscribers and no new views, but they are tracked anyway. And not just one, multiple, many days where nothing happened but Social Blade still tracked it. This is because Social Blade's website was able to contact the API and see that no data has changed. It's still the same old data, but they contacted the API and actually got something from it? Nothing, of course. They just got the information that no data's happened. There's no new data to really think about. And that's what happens here. When there are significant gaps in a YouTuber's data, this is typically because of many different things, but the main cause of it is just simply Social Blade's website was unable to contact the API. Social Blade's website has a tendency to check the API 24 times a day, one every hour at least. Of course, this will depend on how many people look at the Social Blades page. Typically, if you're a normal YouTuber and you look at your Social Blade page like once or twice or 3 times a day, typically that's enough for your page to be consistently updated every single day. But there are times when the website's in a more popular rage, like let's say the most recent one where James Charles lost millions of subscribers and there would just be thousands of people actively on Social Blade, massive gaps of data start to appear even on channels that are consistently looked at. Good example is my own Social Blade, which I have a tendency to look at multiple times a day, and I know a few people who do the same with my own one. On those few days where James Charles lost millions, there's massive gaps of data consistently. And this is just because that, one, the times that the website contacted the API for data on that channel, they couldn't get anything. And second point of it is it's not a popular person. It's not one that they're going to continuously send to the API to get data, because not as many people looking at it as James Charles's page or as Tatty's page. There was thousands of people looking at those pages, so those pages took top priority. Meaning that if they fail to get the data from the API, they're more likely to check again almost immediately afterwards because so many people are looking at it. And it's pretty much as simple as that. Social Blade may have a better explanation over this, but if they see this video and they have a better explanation on what works that way, or whether I did a nice explanation there, they will say something, of course. That's one point easily debunked with simple knowledge.
Furthermore, let's take a look at this little set of screenshots right here. These were taken from a video uploaded today at the time that I'm recording, and I want you to pay close attention to the views and likes for this one. The first screenshot shows 53,000 views and 5.9 thousand likes. The second screenshot was taken 18 minutes later, and the video shows 54,000 views and somehow 7,800 likes now. And the third screenshot is 8 minutes later, and it shows 54,000 views and 8.5 thousand likes. If only 1,000 people viewed this video in the time span of 26 minutes, which is what YouTube is saying, how did it get 2.6 thousand more likes in that time frame?
The like counter is every time you refresh the page on a video, the likes, the dislikes, and the amount of comments are pretty much as real time as possible to whenever you refresh that page. The view count, on the other hand, is pretty much as accurate as how often YouTube feels like updating. Typically, if you get a massive amount of views in a short amount of time, there's a higher chance that YouTube will fail to keep up with the views. Pretty much your video will technically have 2 million views, but it's only displaying as 500,000 on the website currently. But the likes will always be consistent because, as YouTube have gone to say on so many different times, the watch page is where the likes and the dislikes are the most accurate. So again, another point that gets easily debunked.
Those who tend to find a Reddit channel and like that channel's content tend to binge watch it. Therefore, us as content creators see a lot of older videos gain views and the whole channel grows over time. We also are aware that there are certain subreddits that we cover that tend to attract higher view numbers. Those subreddits, as of 2019, tend to be things like r/entitled parents, r/choosing beggars, r/nice girls, r/facts happened, and r/pro revenge. So when I started to look at r/'s catalog of videos, I found it particularly odd that this nice girls video that he has less than 40,000 views, while suddenly, and I mean very suddenly, I mean within the course of 2 weeks, almost every single video on his channel amassed over 300,000 views, if not more.
The next point that I'd like to cover is the point of binge watching. Illuminati has a really good point here of the binge watching of multiple different videos. That typically, with a Reddit audience, they will typically, after coming across a new channel they'll watch multiple videos from that same channel.
Now, something that I ceased to mention in this little segment here is basically on residual views. In my original part here, I pretty much debunked the point in the way I thought was right at the time, but looking back at it now, here's one thing I want to understand. I want to let you guys know that I understand. The typical Reddit audience has a tendency to when they come across one Reddit video from a certain YouTuber, they will go over and watch probably like more videos of that Reddit YouTuber if they tend to like the video. If they don't, well then it's a 50-50 there. But one thing you gotta realize when it came to Rslash's channel at the time is that he was being recommended heavily to everyone. Take example for me. I had his videos recommended to me probably multiple times non-stop for nearly 2 weeks, despite the fact that I don't watch Reddit videos. I've probably watched about like 6 to 10 in the past couple of months leading up to that point, but I still had his videos recommended to me despite that fact. So one thing you gotta realize when it came to Rslash's audience at the time, a lot of them weren't your regular Reddit view. A lot of them were viewers of normal YouTube, typically leading to the fact that they didn't exactly have the normal viewing habits of a Reddit YouTuber, of a Reddit watcher. Meaning they wouldn't know what topics to pick, they would just pick topics that seemed to interest them, and sometimes Rslash Girl just wasn't the one that interested them in.
But from my lots of looking into this topic ever since it came down back in late February, I can lead on a judgment that I'm 99.9% sure that 99.9% of Rslash's subscribers and viewers are real. There's always the 0.1% that are fake, because that's just how the internet goes. It's not because Rslash made them fake, but because that's just what happens. Sometimes it's over-supportive fans who use multiple accounts to sub to the one channel. Sometimes it's just multiple different issues. Anyway guys, sorry about my voice in this video. I'm a little on the sick side from working all last week, and I do plan to get that Deji video done by the end of the week. But anyway, till next time guys, see ya.